Hello, everyone. Today at TechCon SoCal, I'm here with Daniel Marashlian. He's the co-founder and CTO at Dra. Hello, Daniel.
Hey,
Welcome to our show. How are you doing today?
Great. Thank you for having me.
Great. So, Daniel, tell us about Dra. What core problem you're solving, and how are you different than the other alternatives your customers have?
Yeah, of course. So at Dra, what we do is we help businesses automate their not only compliance programs, but their entire GRC programs, which is maybe an insider baseball term, but governance, risk, and compliance. So a lot of times when businesses have an amazing product and they want to go sell it to other businesses, usually it's like, okay, a really good example is you have some great financial software and you want to sell it to Bank of America. They love it, the people, it's solving a problem there. But the security team wants to ensure that how are their downstream vendors securing their important data and assets. So usually what happens is they want a proof of some third-party attestation that your company can operate in the way that you say you operate. So that's where then these companies or these institutions or organizations like the AICPA, the American Institute of Certified Professional Accountants, the guys that do all your taxes, or the ISO group, or out of Europe, the GDPR legislations and the FedRAMP office, and the list goes on. But of all of these security regulations and compliance programs you have to adhere to, doesn't sound fun. It's acronym soup. It's a lot of screenshots and meetings and ticketing and just evidence of how are you running your program. So in that world, and I've lived through that for various times and starting various companies, it was like almost like an enough is enough moment at Dra, is that we started Dra to automate that whole process, to remove the humans out of it as much as possible. So when it comes time, I'll use SOC 2 as a very popular security framework. So it's around your security controls, sometimes availability, confidentiality. There's other facets to it, but it's how are you running your business and program, and then how do you prove of the things that you say you do? How do you prove that with evidence along the way? Well, a lot of times, if an auditor, let's say, was standing behind your back and looking at it, well, okay, they would see how you're running your company, but they're somewhere else. So it's about how do you, across your tooling, your infrastructure, your people, how do you, prove that you're doing what you say you do? And automation is a really good way to gather all that information and kind of keep you in check along the way.
Speaking of automation, how are you harnessing the advanced tech like AI into what you are doing and adding more value to your users, especially as AI is evolving and more innovations are coming in AI?
Yeah, with generative AI, it's been a perfect match in compliance. I think, if you roll back, I don't know, a decade or whatever ago, you had a lot of more classical machine learning and classification style, right? And advertising agent like big Google, Meta, things like that. It worked out great for them because they were able to kind of classify behavior. In compliance, it's just a lot of like words and language and legal documents. And so what you need to do is, as a human, I maybe want to understand how, so let's say in vendor risk management, I want to understand the 200 or plus vendors I use to run my business downstream. Well, how are they secure and how are they doing it? I don't have time to read 200, sometimes there are 100 to 200 page reports. Like, I don't have time for that. So AI is such a great language or tool set to process that language, to pull out the key facts, to warn you about exceptions and say, hey, you know what, you should pay attention right here. Why don't you go talk to them about that? So those quick summary actions of the human process that just that repetitive tool, how can you use tools like generative AI to summarize things and make things a lot faster?
Yeah. Daniel, I'm wondering that compliance and regulation stuff varies a lot, as you go from country to country. And even within US industry to industry, it can change a lot. So what is your scale strategy to deal with that complexity?
Yeah, so we actually have an internal R&D team that there's individuals from naval intelligence and the compliance community, maybe growing up from the big four like PwC or EY, things like that. And the responsibility of that group is to really be our research arm to all of the organizations in the market, from the legislation out of Europe to the federal FedGov office, et cetera, and learn about what's coming new, what's changing, even work with them to understand what is Dra doing in terms of helping the industry automate it, and how can we align the two so we can all just be more secure in a little more real-time way. I think the key is that a lot of times it's human capital intensive without automation. And so people do it once a year, maybe once a quarter at best. But with automation and servers and bots, you can kind of do it every day, sometimes even in real time. So in that world, it's almost a, what's that called? Like a two-sided sword or whatever. It's like, because then the auditors and the third-party individuals, it's too much information. They don't have enough time or bandwidth to review it all. So again, back to summarization, back to sampling, back to understanding the way business you're supposed to run. Can I prove that's the way that you do run?
Any comments on TechCon SoCal and the events like these, which are trying to connect the tech communities together?
Yeah, it's great. It's first night kicking off, and great to see the community gathering. I've been building companies in San Diego for almost 2 decades now, and so been a big part of the ecosystem here. And it's good to see events like this continue to thrive and grow and bring us all together to continue to innovate.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
Thank you.